there.
Good
Yes,
morning. We did it.
Hey, good
We
to
made
see
it.
everybody.
Oh, boy, is this going to be a fuster you-know-what today. Sorry we're late. We had a little emergency with the regularly scheduled engineer today, and I was brought off the bench to pinch hit, and it's been like years since I've actually done this, so I forgot the passwords. I forgot everything.
Did great,
we're
Chris.
here.
We're here now.
But we're here. It's Saturday. It's 11 a.m.
Hey,
We're
good
only
luck.
11 minutes late, but we are here for Hobby Hotline for Saturday, June the 20th, 2006, episode number 392. And I'm Chris Harris, by the way, for those of you who are listening to this a few days from now. I'm joined by Uncle Rich Klein. Always good to have Uncle Rich on the show. And Lauren. Say hi, Lauren.
Uncle John Newman should never not schedule me for a month because now I've been on twice in 2 straight weeks.
Well, it's an emergency, Rich.
I know, I'm teasing.
You're
Relax, Laura.
reliable. You're who we turn to when we need hobby opinions.
Yeah, and also joined by Lauren. How you doing?
Good. I had internet issues, so I hope it's working. I'm sorry if it's not.
Okay, all right. Anyway, what should we talk about? Let's talk about the U.S. soccer team. Yeah! Who's got World Cup fever? Huh?
My wife. And I say that seriously. One of the reasons I was able to sub today was that the Wax Sports Group, they have like 30 some odd stores. One of their stores on Monday is having the Panini World Cup truck come to their store, and they're going to be giving out album, the sticker albums and some other stuff. And I said, why don't we do that? Especially because the best Jewish style deli is literally 100 feet away from their store. So we may do lunch too while we're on our way there. So it's like I don't have to go up to Denton for another of their grand openings if I'm going to go to the store closer to be with the Panini truck.
So I guess as the resident Hobby Hotline soccer guy, I gotta say, I've waited my entire life to see the U.S. play this good in a World Cup. I mean, and yeah, you can say it's only Paraguay and it's only Australia, but still, I mean, if you're Paraguay, right? If you qualify out of South America, you have to run the gauntlet because there's only 10 countries in South America. You play all the other 9 nations twice, so that's 18 games. And they give up only 6 goals in 18 games in South American qualifying. And we scored 4 on them. I mean, and they did it without their best player for the second half of the first game. And they did it without Pulisic for the second game against Australia. So I am just excited. They won the group with 1 game left to spare. And yeah, what do you guys think? Are you on the bandwagon yet?
I have never seen the USA play as well as they did against Paraguay. I mean, when I was watching that game, I was thinking this is like a hockey game in which people are. That's
Oh, ruh-roh.
We are struggling today. Uh-oh.
There he is. I don't know what happened. Rich? You're on mute, Rich. All right, let's take Rich off for a second. Like I said, I'm not the normal engineer here, all right?
You're doing great, Chris. No complaints.
I'm trying to get a show going.
We're trying. I'm having internet issues. We're fighting the odds here.
So let me ask you, Lauren, have you been watching the World Cup? Not just the U.S., but all the other games as well. Have you been watching? Or
I haven't been watching consistently. I have been trying to check in and see the updates and stuff. I will say, Chris, if you had been this committed to the women's team, you wouldn't have been as disappointed for as long because the USA women's team. I know it's not the same, but it's they at least carried the country for a little bit. So I'm sure it's nice for the men's USA team to actually stay in contention. I know for the Olympics and for the World Cup, usually it's kind of a bummer. So I'm glad they have something for y'all to root for. I mean, the Knicks did it, so why not Team USA, right?
Why not? It's been 53 years, so I think we've waited for the U.S. for a little bit longer than that, but yeah. Let's go to the chat. There's been some interesting comments. Strait of Hormuz is running smoother than Hobby Hotline.
Yeah.
You could say that. 4 collectors didn't pay the bill this month. Maybe Fanatics hacked into the stream. It would not surprise me if they did that. Maybe this show is going to be like 1 Million Cubs show once a month. No. The soccer guy was in charge. That explains everything.
No respect for the
Kind
soccer
of does. Hold on a sec. Are we back there, Rich? Have you unmuted yourself? Rich?
I'm here.
Nope, and we can hear him.
You're here. Yay. Is it time for a hydration break yet? No, not yet. Still have about 15 more minutes to go before we get to the hydration break. Have some good mornings from Pacemaker Cards. More good mornings. Shout out to the people watching live. Woo. Rich is a gift to the masses. Let's see here. What's the agenda? We're talking soccer, baby. Every 4 years, America is reminded how insignificant their homegrown sports are. Insignificant? Okay. Rich didn't take long to fulfill his plug obligations. Not sure if that's a compliment or not. Imagine getting jazzed over the group stage. Well,
find joy where you can,
Yeah. Let's see what else. I'm calling commercial breaks hydration breaks is revolutionary. Kudos to FIFA. Is the draw of soccer the game or the party surrounding the game? Kind of both. Team Turkey has sabotaged this Team USA propaganda ahead of the June 25th match. And that's because Turkey lost last night, so they're eliminated. And the U.S. automatically won the group, so that third group stage game means nothing. Go, Chris, go. You got this. Thank you,
Woo!
Laura. Like I said, it's been a while since I've actually done this. So, I'm ready to move to Holland just to follow the bus. And yeah, so Holland has this orange double-decker bus that goes with them everywhere. And they shipped that bus to Galveston just for the World Cup. And it almost came in late, by the way. So let's see. The Scottish invasion of Boston. We got to talk about these Scottish fans because they literally drank Boston dry.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Sam Adams Tap House bar ran out of beer. I mean, but the thing is that this has been the first World Cup Scotland has been since 1998. So you have a lot of pent up demand. But yeah, the Scottish fans, chef's kiss to those guys. Let's see, anything else here? Yeah, I'm thinking about doing the Landon Donovan, whatever he did to bring up the receding hairline. I'm middle-aged, okay? The reflection pool paint job will last longer than the USMNT. The reflection pool paint job is actually starting to peel up. I was watching something on the news today that chunks of blue paint are already peeling off that thing.
Yeah, they can have dual relics in the top 10 cards.
What a metaphor for our times, by the way. Anyway, soccer. Yeah, it's here. We're good at it now. Get used to it. Let's move on to another topic because God knows there's a lot of other stuff in the hobby right now. A certain basketball team won the NBA Finals, you may have heard, for the first time in 53 years. The New York Knicks, is that how you pronounce it?
I believe that's correct.
Or is the K silent?
Knickerbockers?
The Knickerbockers. All right. Well, I guess since this is a hobby show, we have to have a hobby angle here. What do you think this does to basketball cards in general, and Knicks cards in particular? I'll open the floor up to either one of you.
Well, Rich got cut off earlier, so I think he should go first.
Okay. Well, as a long-suffering Knicks fan, I was thrilled to see them win. I was also shocked last Wednesday night because I looked at the score and it was 75-46 or something like that. And I said, okay, we're going 6 and good luck for the Knicks. And the next thing I woke up like I usually do about 4 in the morning and I see this note, Knicks won on a buzzer tip. And I'm thinking, did I wake up in the Twilight Zone? OG was really the OG that night. And on a hobby level, since this is Hobby Hotline, with apologies to those not from New York, it's always good when a New York team wins. So that helps the hobby. And this will lead into an upcoming topic tonight too. It's really depressed the Wemby market, because people are panicking now about Wemby after the fact that San Antonio lost. You have probably a generational young player still going through a learning curve. As I said, we'll talk about that later, but as a Knicks fan, enjoy the moment and also enjoy, I wonder how many Topps cards and Topps Now cards in the next few months are going to have all these celebrities in the background. These celebrities turn out to be an important part of the quote hype of the card market, we recently had a Yasiel Puig Tops Now like PSA 10 card sell for like 60K because some guy named Kobe Bryant, he could be visible on the back of the card cheering the Dodgers that day. I mean, $60,000. That's a lot of money. But he's not the only celebrity on the back of basketball cards, because when you sit in the celebrity front row, you show up on cards in the NBA. So we have that. But plus, you know, we have the three guys from Villanova who were national champions at Villanova, and they're now NBA champions. We have the OG Tap, which Topps Now sold some insane amount of cards of, and rightly so, because that's going to be a signature moment in NBA history. And it brought back some interest in the old Knicks. You know, I grew up watching. I was young. People may not believe I was actually young. My wife thought I was hatched. But I remember the 70 NBA finals. I remember the 73 NBA finals. We all thought the Knicks were going to be competitive for a long time. 53 years is almost as long as it took the Rangers between 40 and 94. New York doesn't always get champions other than the beloved Yankees.
That's true. I mean, there was a lot of, especially in the 2000s and 2010s,
I'll be back in 1 second.
Incompetent management from the Knicks. So let's take Rich off for the other side. Lauren, what did you think about the NBA Finals?
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah.
And do you collect? Are you a basketball collector? First of all.
Yeah, mainly basketball and some WWE now. Yeah, basketball is my go-to though. I love the WNBA and the MNBA. So yeah, I thought it was a fun series. I didn't have Orlando exited once again in the first round, so I didn't have a dog in this fight. I just thought it was a fun series, and I was happy for it to go to Game 7. But yeah, the Knicks got it done, and there he is. Yeah, it was really cool to see. I think the storylines and the timing lined up just right for the Knicks. I know hobby wise, I think Wemby's cards took a hit, but I don't think that's like a long term thing. Is this part of his legacy? Obviously, this is going to be part of his story, but I don't think it's like a massive L on his career. It's a moment. It gives him an opportunity for redemption. The Spurs are used to being a dynasty. The Knicks are not. It's it's going to be interesting, and I'm happy for the Knicks because it is a great story. Jalen Brunson, he put that team on his back and scored like 43 points in that final game, and OG really came in clutch. Pat and and the Villanova angle and yeah, and 53 years of redemption in one of the greatest cities in the world, and the legends get Patrick Ewing being able to be in a parade and hold the trophy. Like, it's really cinematic. It's really beautiful, and yeah, the Knicks people. There's so many clips of people like Jon Stewart, for 25 years talking about the Knicks on the Daily Show and his disappointment and staying loyal, and to now see everybody a little bit more gray and a little bit more wrinkled and actually being able to celebrate. It's really cool. It's really exciting. It gives me hope as an Orlando Magic fan because we're only about 35 years into our franchise. So hopefully, by the time I'm, 70, we'll have at least one. But yeah, I think it's great. To talk about the cards, the Topps Now, it's really cool. The relic that they did, the quintuple autograph that's of the starting five.
Starting five autograph. That was cool.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Like, it's, the Jalen Brunson and Walt Frazier auto relic card of the floors. Like, everything is just really like it's just really lining up like beautifully. Like it just kind of ties up in a nice, neat bow with all the good feel good stories and the history and 53 years. And I think, I'm sure if you're a Spurs fan, it doesn't feel that good. But if you're a basketball fan, especially if you're a Knicks fan, I think, and a hobby and a collector in the hobby, I think that this is probably one of the best things that could have happened to you. It just feels good. It's just a feel good story and it's exciting. Everybody's excited for everybody, which is fun.
Yeah, and unlike some previous basketball teams, the Knicks are a likable team.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
For
that's
sure.
something there too. The players are all likable. And that also helps. Forget, skipping the New York angle and even skipping the Price angle. They're a likable team, and that does help fans' perceptions. You're a basketball person, if I remember correctly. Basketball is your number one sport.
Yeah.
And to hear you say what you said, I think is, Chris is a soccer person. I remember Chris just before the pandemic came down to watch his soccer team here in Dallas, and we got to hang out like in late February of 2020. Who knew what was going to happen?
2 weeks before the pandemic. Yep.
But hearing that, it's great. Wouldn't it be great for, Orlando came so close, and I believe it's not so close. They got swept, but they got to the finals in '95.
Yep. And then in 2009, yeah.
And you've been waiting a long time.
Yeah, not as long as the Knicks fans though. So that's why it gives me hope. I got, about 20-ish years of wiggle room before I can really start complaining.
Younger than I am, so you do have the 20 years of wiggle room.
Let's go to the chat. Thank God we don't need to hear from Knicks fans for another 50 years. Yeah. This is the moment when Europeans realize their vacation of LA, Houston, New York. Who wants to vacation in Houston anyway without a car? David Robinson better than Wemby. Yeah, sure about that? Get back to us in about 5 or 6 years. Let's see. Hobby is populated by people who collect what they like, not what they're told to. Yes, I agree. You don't become a generational player until 10 to 15 years in a league. He's a generational prospect. It won't end well for Wemby cards and never would out of the gate once the nonsense started. Nonsense. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. I did a line with Bernard King. Well, that explains a lot. Don't do drugs, do cards, kids. I agree with Rich's wife. Rich, you just got a yellow card. So, yeah. Let's see. Why does every hobby topic happen to mention the price attached to a player? Well, it's a hobby show. Just saying. Asking for a small minority of collectors. Look, I could care less how much a rare one-of-one card sells for, because I'm never going to collect it. I'm never going to buy it. But there are some people who genuinely are interested. I know a couple of, maybe a month ago, a one-of-one of Barry Bonds sold for like $260,000. Well, a couple of years ago, I bought a box of 1999 Flair Showcase, and guess what I pulled? A one-of-one Barry Bonds. So that kind of interests me. And no, I'm not selling it. Everything is better when New York wins. No, I don't agree, especially for those of us that don't live in New York. After 50 years, I'm happy for the Knicks. Okay. The greatest 7'4" Frenchman of all time remains Andre the Giant. Yeah, I agree. Remember when Topps did Subway token cards in the 2000s? That was for they made a special set for the World Series that year, I believe.
And those were great. And I'll agree, those were
That
great.
was a cool set, cool concept. It'll be interesting. Non-Knicks fans will soon loathe the franchise, the celebrity, and fans. Success breeds anti-fans. Okay. What does a Knicks championship do for the Bip Roberts market? Now, that's an important question. Well, I mean, we could take a whole episode of Hobby Hotline to discuss the Bip Roberts market, but we got to save that for another day. Wemby was scared. Andre was never scared. He needs to bulk up like Andre, back up on shooting too many threes. He's a hack. He needs to get better advice, Wemby. He needs to hire Bobby the Brain Heenan to be his manager.
No, he needs classy Freddie Blassie.
You pencil neck geek. Miami is on fire. So many soccer fans here and free events. Yeah, all of these cities that are having World Cup matches.
By the way, DFW is
mobbed.
loaded with soccer fans too. It's been quite an experience.
It's all about the flip. Money is the root of all evil. Flippers are evil. Not necessarily. Flippers serve a purpose, I believe, in the hobby. Knicks bandwagon is the only one I don't want to jump on. Okay. And when will the Rangers or Islanders win Stanley's Cup? I think it's going to be a while. I mean, yeah. Let's see. I think it's time for a hydration break. What do you think? Yeah, the referees. Yeah, I'm hearing it from the VAR right now. We need a hydration break. We'll be right back. But here are some commercials.
So, Lauren, you're not coming to the Dallas Card Show. You posted in our chat.
No, I am not. Yeah, we're missing this one. We're also missing Fanatics Fest. Yep, hydrate up, everyone. Yeah, we haven't been to Dallas, I think, since January, which bums me out. I really like the show, but our schedule's just too packed right now, and with prepping for the national and everything, we just have to sit this one out, unfortunately.
All right, hydration break is done. I hope everybody got all those fluids in them. Next topic. Yeah, Lauren, you were just talking about the NSCC this year. And I feel that I've been to 19 NSCCs. I've been to every one since 2010. And I just feel this year, because it's back in Rosemont again, it's going to be in Rosemont next year again. Fridays and Saturdays at the National have just become this mob scene now. And it's just not fun to go to the National because it's just gotten too big. And I'm seriously thinking about skipping it this year. On the other hand, I am still unemployed. The arm is getting better. And I feel like I need to go to the National this year, if only to network. First of all, what do you guys think about the National being in Rosemont again for a second straight year? Does that make you want to go to it more or go to it less?
I mean, I like Rosemont. I don't mind it. now that they have AC, I don't mind it at all. I'm happy to be there now that their air conditioning is working. Um, last year I think they did well. I think this is my 5th national. Um, so every year there were, some either the internet wasn't working, the AC wasn't working. Atlantic City was um, Atlantic City. I don't know. People had thoughts about the city.
It is what it is.
It
But
is what it is. So I like Rosemont. The hotels are close. I think it's a nice area. They really let the hobby community breathe. People are happy to have us there, and Chicago's a cool city. There's a lot of things to do, see museums. Um, they have a lot of teams. So I like it there. I'm in general happy. I like that it's in different places. I know a lot of people want them to go west of the Mississippi. Um, but I like it in Chicago. I don't really care at this point, I don't really care one way or the other that we're doing 3 years in a row there. I'm just excited about it. I like it. I also like that I'm familiar with the show floor and getting in and how where was it was Cleveland where the parking and the getting out was insane. It took like 3 hours for people to get out of the parking lot at the end of the show. So like I think Chicago's familiar. I think people can kind of improve their experience every year because okay, this hotel's too far. I'd rather stay at one that's actually connected. Do I want to Uber? Do I want to walk? Do I want to stay in the city? Do I want to stay in Rosemont? So I think it gives people the opportunity to have a better experience, but we all like to complain. So if I wanted to complain, I'm sure I could find a lot of things that I don't like about it. So
Part of me has always said that the Nationals should be in Chicago every year, in Rosemont every year. It's the center of the country. The airline is truly accessible to the show. It's a 10-minute cab ride, Uber ride, whatever away. Tons of hotels in the area, tons of places to eat. And if you don't want to stay at the hotel, and if you know how to do the trains in Chicago, you can stay outside the area and just take the train to the show. And it's a short enough walk to the convention center. It's not bad. And also, if you want to park 20 minutes away and you know the area and you don't want to do all the hoopla at night, that's okay too. So on a lot of the levels, the National being in Chicago every year makes a ton of sense. On the other hand, the whole purpose when the National started, and I'm old enough to know when that was to move it around the country. If you look at the early years of the National, we started in Anaheim, went to Detroit, went to St. Louis, went to Chicago, went to Parsippany, New Jersey, aka New York City area, aka then we went back to Anaheim to the Disneyland Hotel. Then we went to Arlington. We went in 87 to San Francisco, 88 Atlantic City, 89 Chicago, 90 Arlington again, 91 for the Monster in Anaheim. And then it got more corporate and we stopped moving every single year. Then we had Smith Buckland, we went to Atlanta, then Chicago. So we went to a lot of different places and that was kind of cool. But if you keep the National in just one location, some people say, oh, it's just going to be a big regional show with all the content creators and everybody who now gets to Chicago. I don't think it's really a big regional show anymore. I think it's truly a national, but I'm excited to hear about Detroit in a couple of years. I think that's kind of cool. So I am not 100% in favor of Chicago, but I'm not 100% against being in Chicago multiple years either. And I think the board, when I say the board, I think the people running the National and the managers get it mostly right. There is something we can discuss later. I disagree strongly with them upon, but I understand their reasons for that. But I think they're doing the best they can. And remember, it's the dealers that vote on where the National is going to be. It's not the three of us decision. The dealers actually make the decision. And
so,
if
Rich,
the vendors want to be in Chicago, they'll be in Chicago.
But wasn't there like a rule in the NSCC bylines that said not only could you not have the national in the same city in back-to-back years, not only could you not have it in the same state in back-to-back years, but you couldn't have it in a bordering state in back-to-back
There was a
years.
400. I was actually at the meeting. It was at a bar at the 83 Chicago National. And with my terrible handwriting, somehow, and I've written about this, somehow I got through it. I was tasked with taking the notes when we started creating the basic bylaws for the national. And it was the national. We needed to get the national out of the Midwest. Otherwise, all the dealers are just going to vote to stay in the Midwest rotation every year. So you couldn't be in a contiguous state, and it had to be 400 miles apart. I don't think those rules exist anymore. And again, I'm okay with that. But that was the original plan. By 83, that was the new plan, because we were getting stuck in as I pointed out, 81, the Detroit area, Plymouth, Michigan, 82, the St. Louis area, 83, Chicago. We were in a Midwest rut.
Yeah. And look, I don't mind it going back to Rosemont every couple of years, but I think you have to have it in the Northeast at least once every 4 or 5 years, I think. And other than Baltimore, if they ever get their act together and expand because the Baltimore Nationals of the early 2010s were great. It's just that the show's outgrown it. The only other place that you can have a national realistically is Atlantic City. And everybody dumps on Atlantic City, but the facility itself is actually pretty good.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Let's go to the chat.
But if you're coming from out of town, from a place like Dallas, it is a terrible way to get there. You either have to fly to Philly and figure out an hour how to get there.
Yep.
Or
there's a train.
If you live in the megalopolis, Atlantic City is a great option, and you can drive there. If you can drive to Atlantic City, the area, it's a great option and a good place for a show. Other than that, it's not so good. And I say this, Atlantic City, by the way, growing up was my parents' favorite vacation place, like it was for a lot of people in New Jersey.
Yeah, my grandparents, my dad, yeah.
So so Lauren, you know where I'm coming from.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not anti-Atlantic City. It's just a terrible way to get there.
Yep.
You know, there is a train that goes to Philadelphia that lets you off right at the convention center. I'm just saying, you don't have to actually stay in Atlantic City for an Atlantic City National. Let's go to the chat here.
Orlando said, not to interrupt, but Orlando actually said that Orlando would be a good place for a show. And I agree. I've had this conversation before. I mean, we're biased. We're in Florida, but Orlando has had really major cons here. You know, I know Disney is close by. To talk about, like, you know, the dream booking, you know, you could come with your family and you can go to the card show. They can go to the parks. They can stay at the hotel and swim at the pool all day. They have a great convention center. There's hotels all along. It's very walkable. I mean, it's Orlando, so it is built for tourists.
But the thing is that, you know, every large city in America has a convention center that could host the national. It's just that, can you afford to go there?
Right.
I mean, I'd love it if the Javits Center in Midtown Manhattan would be a great place to have a national, but I don't think the NSCC could afford that place. Fanatics can, for Fanatics Fest. That's why they have it there. You know, that's why we keep going to the same the NSCC. Why we go to the Stevens Center in Rosemont instead of McCormick Place in downtown Chicago, which is the largest convention center in the United States. So,
by the way, the 93 National was at McCormick Place.
Was at McCormick Place, yes.
And the
Let's go to the chat.
going
1
to
million
Lauren's
Cubs.
point,
Up.
Anaheim is a great place for a national as well. I'm glad Rob Veras is doing so well with the West Coast sports show there. That he runs, I believe, actually this year it's the same weekend as Fanatics Fest and the Dallas Card Show. Talk about a fun weekend.
And the World Cup final.
You could hit all three if you've got enough money. But Anaheim, there's a lot of hotels nearby. You've got a lot of good touristy things there. Anaheim would be a great place for a national if you could get the dealers to say they'd go there. Yeah. I think you'd have a better shot of getting Orlando over Anaheim just because it's closer to the East Coast. Atlanta did fairly well when they voted about it, and I will say Orlando is famous. They have a show called, if I remember, Fun, which is a coin show every January, which is a huge event there and very popular among all the coin people.
Yeah, I think the previous NSCC management said, and this was maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, that they're never going to go back to Anaheim. So there's that. But that was the previous management. All right, I've been waiting to show this comment. 1 million Cubs. Nobody goes to the National anymore because it's too packed. Well, yeah, because it's too packed with card bros and Pokemon bros now. Just like every other card show. Even Keating knows Steve Jeltz is the true GOAT. National talk must be out of topics. Yeah.
Well, we're like 40 days out. We have to start talking about it.
Yeah.
Well, but the other thing I wanted to talk about the National, and I wanted to bring this up, and I brought this up in our group chat, is this is the one thing I have a problem with the National is I'm going to say it's the badge issue. And I think, Lauren, you had a really good post in our group chat about that. It's a really tough issue for any show promoter. I saw a note on Instagram from the Emerald City show, which is in the Seattle area, where it was a long walk and vendors basically got robbed on their way to the car. Now, the two most dangerous times at any card show are load in and load out. The National load in is not as bad because you can actually drive to your booth at the National. So you save the step of bringing stuff. You save the step of having to lug the stuff from your car to the, go outside, bring it in. You're saving that step that you have to do at a lot of card shows. Load out. Most people are loading their stuff to their car at the National. They're not waiting till 5 o'clock where they can start driving their car to their booth. But you need to have people to get from point A to point B. And to me, there's a couple reasons, but I think every National booth should have 3 badges because you get 3 tables for every booth. And not everybody's going to use it either. Sometimes it's pretty safe. And sometimes you're not carrying super expensive stuff. But I'd rather be safe and have an extra body. One person at the booth, one person moving to the car, and actually another person at the car keeping an eye on things so you don't get robbed with your car or anything. And I think what the National has also heard is there's also people complaining about too many people on Tuesday with badges. And I understand that point of it. Why are you giving so many people badges? But if you look at it as a safety issue and not as a commercial issue, it makes the sense to get the extra badge people. And if some of them are walking around buying cards from dealers before the show open, it helps pay the deal. It helps pay the dealer's cost to get there. The minimum cost for any vendor at the National, unless you happen to live in the Chicago area and thus save the hotel cost, is $3,000. It may even be up to $4,000 now. That's a lot of money to spend before you take in a penny. And And if I was a vendor and somebody told me, well, we're reducing the number of people walking around the show, not that people with what I currently have are going to buy anything from me before a show opens anyway. And I'd say, hey, the more people who are walking around that can spend money with me, bring them in.
Did you guys see somebody posted this to social media about maybe a month ago? They were doing load-in at a card show at a big convention center, and the Teamsters set up basically a toll booth because they have a contract. Basically, if you were not carrying your stuff in your own arms and required the use of a cart, then the Teamsters, as part of the contract, had to do it for you, and you had to pay off one of their union Goombas to do it for you. And they were setting up literally a toll booth in front of the load-in dock to extract money from dealers.
Welcome to unionization.
Yeah. And this is another reason why the NSCC keeps going to the same places.
Well,
you don't have to deal with some Teamster Goomba hitting you up for money. Let's go back
Chris,
to the chat here.
Chris, can I interrupt? Because
go ahead.
Because I'm laughing because way back in the day, when Gloria Rothstein did the old White Plains card show, there were these two men, and it was wonderful. So, and it was basically a toll. She'd say, well, you can kind of bring in your own stuff, but if you pay these two guys $10 each, they'll bring your stuff in. They were so efficient. I was thrilled every show to have $40 in abeyance to say $20 in, $20 out, one trip they would do each way. Thank you. And then I'd put the stuff in the car. It was really a very efficient thing. And that was my $20. I figured it was a $40 toll every show. And it was just added to what my tables cost me. And it wasn't a big deal. But that was sort of what they were doing 40 years ago. It's the same thing today.
Well, these guys weren't charging $10. It was like 150. So,
well, I'm just saying in those days, it was $20 to hand these two guys. And you knew that they were
two jabroni. Yeah.
And you knew what you were paying them off for, and it was like, okay, that's perfectly fine. Right. And because they were really very good too. I mean, they were so efficient with the ramp. It was like, fine. I'd rather they deal with the ramp than me deal with that ramp. It was a steep enough ramp.
All right, a few more comments. Sunday is the best day, free and clear. Yeah, Sunday at the National is the best day to go, but other days on the weekends, not so much.
It's the best day if you don't want to bump elbows with people, but if you're trying to get your grail, Sunday's not it.
Might not be there though.
Right. Taking a risk.
I love it because it's a convenient ride from airport and the hotel is connected. Mm-hmm. Good food in the area. I don't know about that. I mean, yeah, there's Gibson's, but you can't really eat Gibson's 5 days a week, can you? And the food in the convention center is overpriced.
Yeah.
Keating is the Pennsylvania goat. That's questionable. The National is a scam. They do not travel nationally. Keep the National in Rosemont in perpetuity. Well, yeah, 1 million Cubs guy would say keep the National in Chicago. I think it should be in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware every year. But that's not going to happen. So hydration breaks are for BBCG lab collectors. All right. Deodorant is optional. Yeah. National smells like a colonoscopy post-op room.
Sheesh.
Yeah. Rich is wrong about the National. Chicago every year is whack. thinking of going to Detroit, and so I'm looking forward to Detroit because it's right on the riverfront. It's where they have the big Detroit car show every year, so it's big enough to hold the national. And there's plenty of hotels downtown. Yeah, I'm kind of excited for 2028. I know Lauren would agree they should have the national in Orlando one year. There's the issue of can the NSCC afford it? Rosemont is great due to its location, but we need it in the East Coast again. AC gets a bad rep. It's not Kensington, Philadelphia-ish that make it out to be. Oh, there are some sections of Atlantic City that would give K&A a run for its money. Florida would be great for the national. I see a lot of people want Florida. Dallas card show, difficult to get to from DFW as AC is from Philly. There's a train that goes to the convention center from Center City, from 30th Street in Philadelphia, and it drops you off right at the convention center in Atlantic City. What happened to the national? It's stuck in the Midwest and the East Coast now because that's where all the collectors are, and that's where all the dealers are, and that's where all the money in this hobby is. Don't worry, Fanatics will be the only card show around. Let's hope not. Many cities are limited by motel space near a convention center. Yes. And that's another reason why it's never going to be at the Javits Center in Manhattan, because nobody wants to pay $500 a night for a midtown hotel room. I spend a lot of time in convention centers. Not as simple. You're right. Swing by Mobile Armory on your way to the convention center. We have 30% off bulletproofs. I went to a card show once where they had cards on the bottom floor and then a gun show at the top floor. So made for an interesting mix. PSA should be the influence for a West Coast show. Only 4 cities make sense: Chicago, Vegas, Orlando, and Atlanta. They include 4 of the 5 largest convention centers in America. They're never going to go to Vegas because the dealers would want people to spend the money at their tables and not at the blackjack tables.
I can't remember what it was called.
The Mint Collective, remember that?
Yes,
that
yeah, I blanked on it completely. We went the second year, and it wasn't a card show exclusively, but there was a card show element to it, and it was fun. It was cool. We enjoyed it. It'd be nice if they could explore it, but yeah, Vegas is kind of a risky situation there.
Yeah.
Well, Lauren, if I remember, the Mint Collective, as you said, was a card show element because you could be a card dealer next to some, we'll call it a person with an idea for, and way to, do cards in the hobby, something interesting. So it was really interesting. It was an interesting mix.
It was fun.
It was kind of cool to hear all these variables that were out there.
Yeah.
And the very first Mint Collective was absolutely delayed because there was a wedding with one of the people running the Mint Collective, and like half the people at that wedding got COVID.
Oh.
And it was quite an interesting, so they had to push it back until everybody got well.
Right. Yeah, the second year was fun. They had they did have the card show element, and like Rich said, there were people with different ideas and promoting ideas and stuff, and they had like panels. Like they had, it was almost kind of like an industry. I guess that's kind of the point in the name, but it was like an industry convention where you could go into the card show and you could look at cards and you could, like a normal experience. but then you could also go to a panel with and listen to people that on a topic you care about, or like I think at the time, um, like NFTs were kind of a big thing, and people were talking about like digital collectibles, and like that hasn't aged well, but like it was interesting to hear at the time, at least like what they were talking about. So it was, it was an interesting way to actually like Hobby Hotline, even like have ideas and have conversations, and you can go look at cards and you can have that side of it, but to also have the side where like you could explore ideas, talk to people, meet people. That was fun. That was a cool element to it. So I missed the mint. I like the mint a lot.
And since it involves two of my favorite hobby people, I want to talk about something fun being done at the National on Sunday. I don't know if you caught this in Sports Collectors Daily where I caught it, but our own Dr. Jim Beckett is one of the. It's almost like the thing Mark Cuban was on.
Shark Tank.
Yes, the Shark Tank.
Oh.
Where they're going to have on Sunday 3 people chosen from various things presenting like their ideas on what they can do. And obviously it's going to be very tech savvy on what they can do for the hobby. And it's going to be basically moderated by Jeremy Lee. And there's going to be 3 people on the panel, and it's just a way for the National to have something totally different, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And I think that's nice to have that. And I think that's a great concept where maybe even a little Shark Tank element into the card show is a really nice idea. And I think that's very cool. And John, there's another plug, so you can add that to the plug list. I'm pretty good at product. I'm pretty good at product placement, by the way, Mr. Keenan.
Will Chris Harris get a media pass? No, and I don't need one because I'm a veteran, and vets get in free now.
Nice.
Ding. Let's see. Happens at every trade show, every rock concert, every Keating bachelor party. So I'm guessing there have been what? What's the over-under on number of Keating bachelor parties there have ever been? I'm setting it at 4.5.
I'll set it at 1.
National does not have to go to Anaheim or even California. I think we should. Chris Harris, poo-poo foods in Chicago. I love it. I'm poo-pooing the food in and around the convention center. All right. The food at the convention center sucks and is overpriced. Okay. And I don't eat there. What I do for lunch is that I get in my car and I drive. There's like a nice strip mall across the street from the Allstate Arena. It has a Potbelly sandwich shop, which is a chain, but it's indigenous to Chicago. There's a decent pizza place next to it. And then around the bend next to my hotel, there's a Buono Beef, which sells authentic Chicago Italian beef sandwiches. I've been to so many nationals in Chicago. I already know all my favorite lunch spots. So let's see what else. No crop. Yeah, no crop dusting, please. Detroit has rebounded unlike any other city I've seen, but the auto show is dead. Well, if the auto show's dead, bring the National in, I guess. Folks who complain about getting the AC from Philly are the same who pay for people to open packs for them. People stay at motels? Well, yeah. A little cheaper, more money for cards. Just saying.
Hotel, motel, Holiday Inn.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much. Industry Summit was in Vegas. It kind of petered out due to lack of interest. Yeah.
And there's other things too with the Industry Summit. I really wish somebody would have a true Industry Summit again, but everybody, Upper Deck does their own thing and Tops does their own thing, so, and it'd be nice to have like the original concept of the Industry Summit.
The Hawaii show.
Yeah.
When was the last? I guess Isaacson still owns the IP to that, and it's been a while. For New Balance and Skechers should co-sponsor the National. Too much Poke Your Mom, all trying to cash them in. Yes. Let's see. Chris Harris needs to enter the Shark Tank thing at the National. I don't have anything to sell. I mean, I could sell them baseball cardpedia, but we don't need venture capital ruining another good thing. You'll have to wait to get in. Yeah, that's the one thing that, beggars can't be choosers, right? And I did bring this up to national management. Why don't you give veterans just a free 5-day pass? I don't know. Potbelly, pig, and pizza. Mr. Beef is great for a heart attack. The guy poo-pooing Chicago is eating at Potbelly. It's good.
Hey, when I used to go to Chicago and I had a friend of mine who's no longer with us, but his son was in the Marriott chain, and I used to stay at the Marriott within walking distance of the show, and there was McDonald's across the street, and I'd go to McDonald's for breakfast every morning at the National. It was perfectly fine, and I'd have my oatmeal and I'd have my yogurt parfait, and sadly their yogurt parfait is off the menu now. I mean, it was perfectly fine for breakfast, and I'd have my cup of coffee, and McDonald's coffee is actually pretty good.
All right. We managed to kill off more than an hour.
We did a good job. Good job.
I can't believe we did it either
on
short notice. So I'm going to pat myself on the back for that. You guys have any last words? Lauren?
Happy Juneteenth weekend, everyone. Happy Father's Day tomorrow. Enjoy the World Cup and be safe, have fun out there this weekend.
Yes, happy Juneteenth. It's about time that became a holiday.
Again. The Panini. I'm looking forward to taking my wife to see the Panini truck on Monday, and we're not expecting a lot, but she's really gone to the World Cup, so I'm looking forward to going to the wax store and the nice place to be, have lunch beforehand, which is a double bonus, and I'll probably hobby. As I pointed out last week, I went to the Dallas Card TCG show pop-up on Friday, and I'll give the plug. The joke was that I got there and somebody says, "Oh, Jerica's inside," because normally she's nice enough and I usually can get a badge or a pass or some way to get in early to the Dallas Card show. And I said, "No, this was free parking and $5 to get in. I'll just pay you." And the nice, pretty young lady, who does not look like she has a 16-year-old son, and she does, and she laughed. She says, "Okay, just wait till in the 3:45." She took my money and said, "Go on in." And I actually found baseball cards there. And I spent what I budgeted to bring with me, which shocked me. I was expecting, okay, I'm not going to find anything at a TCG show and I'll just go out to dinner afterwards. No, I actually spent my money on cards.
All right.
And happy Father's Day.
Yeah. Next week, we got Newman, who I believe is in my neck of the woods this weekend. Orlando and Brody the Kid will be here. Maybe. Unless something happens.
Well, Orlando posted he's on next week.
Yeah. So anyway, thanks for joining us. keep on rocking in the free world. And who knows? Maybe I might be here next week. I don't know. Later.